Hi guys. So today's video is going to be a little bit different because I am doing the Roots and Refuge book collaboration. She's doing a collaboration of different books that we know are tried and true as homesteaders and gardeners and foragers. She's trying to compile information that we know wasn't written by artificial intelligence, that we know to be reliable sources. So I compiled a few of the books that I like personally. I want to invite all of you as well to join in the book collaboration with us and post your own videos of books that you like, that you trust, and that you have tried, whether it be recipes or gardening techniques or homesteading or foraging, any of that, any of the things that fit within that niche. Cool to get everybody involved who's willing to share. I'm going to just read the list that I compiled and a little bit about the writers and a little bit of the book that I took note of that I wanted to include. And I'm going to link all of these books below that you can get on Amazon. And there are also a lot of links I can include for YouTube channels because a lot of these people actually are content creators as well. Number one, Folks, This Ain't Normal, A Farmer's Advice for Happier Hens, Healthier People, and a Better World. That's a Joel Salatin book. From farmer Joel Salatin's point of view, life in the 21st century just ain't normal. In Folks, This Ain't Normal, he discusses how far removed we are from the simple, sustainable joy that comes from living close to the land and the people we love. Salatin has many thoughts on what normal is and shares practical and philosophical ideas for changing our lives in small ways that have a big impact. I really liked this book because I don't know, for those of you who know who Joel Salatin is, he writes the way that he talks. And so I really liked reading the book because it was relatable in that way. I just thought that he was a really good writer and found him to be like really genuine. And that was before I ever watched interviews with him in it or anything. I read the book first. And he's got other books out there that I haven't really read yet or gotten into, but I'm sure they're just as good. And I have seen other people recommend his books. So I know that this is a reliable source. And it's really eye-opening because it shines a light on what is expected in the food industry, the kind of quotas that they have to meet and the kind of laws that they have to follow that don't really make sense. And it's really cool to kind of get into that. Number two, The Rooted Life, Cultivating Health and Wholeness Through Growing Your Own Food, Justin Rhodes. I think a lot of you have probably heard of Justin Rhodes. I know Jess has talked about it on her channel. Have you ever wanted to experiment with growing your own food but didn't think you had the space, the time, or the knowledge? Justin Rhodes. Until after years battling systemic illness, the struggling to provide the kind of wholesome food he wanted for his family, he bought a seed packet at the grocery store and was hooked. It really dives into what it's like to live with daily pain and still be trying to live a lifestyle that is actually, it's very physically demanding. And hearing him talk about that journey and that struggle and being honest and open about it, I thought was really inspirational. Number three, The Autopilot Garden by the MIGardener, Guide to Hands-Off Gardening, Luke Marion. I really love this book. This is a person who dedicated his life to his passion and has built a seed empire, and he really opened my eyes to how much is possible to do in northern Michigan. He's probably the main person that I follow that's in the north, and some of his techniques changed the way that I garden. Instead of slaving away year after year, work smarter, not harder. by strategizing to help your garden become self-sufficient using all natural techniques. Learn to properly fuel your garden with the understanding of soil composition, organic fertilizer, and healthy balance of bacteria and fungi. Keep your plants hydrated and conserve water with a core gardening system trench, which I have never heard of before I read this book and is very helpful. Extend the growing season with smart use of polymaterial tunnel. Avoid tedious manual weeding by using all natural preemptive weed suppression without resorting to harmful chemical pesticides. Utilize high intensity planting to grow more food in less space, reduce weeding, watering, and protect soil quality. High intensity planting, something that I didn't think that I could do, never even considered it, thought that you had to have plants spaced out a certain way. But when you live in a place where you have like 111 days of warm weather, you want to get as much out of your space as you can. And that high intensity planting and being able to harvest little, smaller, but more altogether, it's a complete game changer. Number 4. Okay, obviously I'm going to include Jessica's books because they're the ones that I go back to constantly when I need to know something. So number 4 is The First-Time Gardener, Growing Vegetables, all the know-how and encouragement you need to grow and fall in love with your brand new food garden, The First-Time Gardener's Guide. And then number 5 is The First-Time Homesteader, her other book, A Complete Beginner's Guide to Starting and Loving Your New Homestead. And I love the way that Jessica writes. I love the way that she talks. She has so much passion. I think she's the most passionate writer, the most passionate author that I've ever read. I cannot get through reading Park-like without crying. It touches my soul. And I think that it's so cool that when she describes how she used to go to the libraries and read all of the books and watch, like, look at all the pictures and watch all of the things and cry. I think that it's so cool, and it's such a blessing that we read her books now and we look at her pictures and we dream of that life and we cry, and it's within reach. It's so encouraging. It's so validating to see a woman of God who's open about who she is be in the light and be getting as much attention as she is, because it makes me feel safe to do the things that I do and say the things that I say, because she took the leap and did it first. Her books discuss where do you put your new garden, how do you prepare the soil, what vegetables should I plant, is it better to start new plants from seed or should I buy transplants, what about watering, feeding, and taking care of my garden, what do I do if bugs show up, design an eco-friendly layout, how to grow with the seasons, how to maximize your harvest even if you're growing in a small space. And then the Homesteader's book is about raising chickens for meat and eggs, starting and operating a home dairy, housing, fencing, processing, advice for meat animals, planning and planting your homestead vegetable garden, keeping bees for honey, pollination, and beeswax, stocking your medicine cabinet with useful herbs and home remedies, living a resourceful existence by reusing and repurposing, stocking the kitchen with all of the tools and techniques you need for success. Pretty much encompasses everything that you need to know. Number 6 is The Tiny But Mighty Farm by Jill Reagan, Cultivating High Yields, Community, Self-Sufficiency from Home Farm. Start growing food today, meet the best varieties, yourself and your family and your neighbors. Backyard Mini Farming is about regular people who live in regular houses turning all or part of their property into a productive, high-yielding mini farm. Unlike gardening, mini farming takes a very deliberate approach, with the main goal being to grow as much food as you can with as little land as and as few resources as possible. Everything is done with planning and purpose rather than as a hobby. I appreciate Jill and the way that she writes and the way that she lays out things because it's very visual. She has a lot of different charts and graphs and things like that in her book. And she is so organized. And I appreciate that so much because I am not organized. And watching her content and stuff, I was introduced to the Seed Time app, which is amazing, and it will tell you when to plant and when to cultivate. It will give you a whole calendar. You just have to input all the different varieties you have. And I found that because of her. And she's a great resource, and I like her book a lot. Number 7. She is the last, but she is not the least. The Cottage Fairy Companion book by Paola Merrill. A cottagecore guide to slow living, connecting to nature, and becoming enchanted again. Mindful living home design for cottages. The #1 bestseller in small homes, cottages, folk crafts, architectural decorations, ornaments, fiber arts, textiles, seasonal crafts, architecture, home design, decorating. Discover how to infuse the charm of cottagecore into your everyday life with the Cottage Fairy Companion, a simple, more mindful existence, offering the beauty of slow living, rustic aesthetics, and deep connection to nature. I like Paola because she takes simple things and makes them look beautiful. She does all kinds of things with dried flowers and different things with plants that I have never seen anybody do before, making ornaments out of fruit, like really fully taking advantage of all of her resources that are just in the woods by her house. And yeah, she is just magical and whimsical and just cool all around. I hope that this was informative and that you guys got some good resources. I cannot wait to see everybody else's videos. I love books and I love homesteading books. They're my favorite. And I sit in an office in the winter. And when I do have downtime, I love to read. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what else everybody has read. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to say a special thank you to all my new subscribers. It's been humbling to see the small influx of people who actually want to watch me talk about plants and gardening. And so I'm really grateful. And I'm grateful that you came back to watch again if you're not new here. And I think that it's appropriate to say that since this video is for Jess, I bless you. Until next time.